All right, welcome to the show. My name is Lucas McNelly. With me today is the director of Potential Inertia and also the founder of the Oil Valley Film Festival, which is September 4th through 6th, maybe, in Oil City, Pennsylvania. Matt Croyle, thanks for joining me.
Hi, Lucas. How are you today, man?
I am doing okay. I've had like a
How?
headache for a week, and I don't know what the
Oh
fuck
no,
that was.
that's not good, man.
No, no,
How is Maine?
it's okay. The weather is kind of fucking with us a little bit.
Well, I'm
It's
sure.
it snowed like a week ago. We got like 6 inches of wet snow out of nowhere. And
Yeah,
it was just
that's
like, what the fuck is this? I didn't ask for any of this shit. Um and it's been and then it snowed again like 2 days ago. We woke up, we had like a dusting on the ground.
and you run too. Have you been able to
Yeah.
do any running?
Yeah, some the thing with running now is like it's really good for, keeping your immune system healthy, which is key right now.
Yes.
And you can do it outside, and I live in a pretty rural area, so I don't really see a lot of people when I do that, although it's a
Yeah.
lot more than normal. But also
You're
you're
not
like,
really running into a lot of people. See what I did there?
yeah, that's very good.
It was
But it's
really
not
bad.
like
It was
it's not
really
like
bad.
you're in downtown like Pittsburgh and you're running on those trails or anything.
Right.
It's like
Yeah,
back roads.
completely different story.
Yeah. And so, but the thing is, when it's 40 degrees and raining, you're like, do I really want to run 5 miles in this and catch my death of cold? It's just like the voice in your head going, you'll catch your death of cold.
Yeah.
And so it's been a little hit or miss. So how are you doing? You're in New Orleans now, right?
I am. I've been down here since the beginning of February, and I
You
absolutely
picked a good
love it.
time.
Yeah, I really did. Especially, I mean, it's everywhere down here,
Yeah,
unfortunately, because this is not a rural area, and I really have to be careful even just walking up the street to go to the store to get like milk and eggs and like
right.
so yeah, it's a whole different story. I'm in Jefferson Parish, which is not quite New Orleans Parish, but within the metro area. It's only 15-minute drive to downtown. So
Oh wow.
we're right there. We're in the middle of it. And yeah, it's a scary time, but just trying to be safe about it.
And that was a hot spot, right? Or has that gotten better?
I mean, it really I don't think it's really gotten better per
Right.
se.
Well, yeah.
Maybe it's not spreading as fast, but like on a much smaller scale than you would want it to not spread.
Right.
Um, so I mean, yeah, I'm looking at places like that aren't taking things seriously right now, and I'm like just pointing my finger, going like they're next. They're
Yeah.
totally next. And it's unfortunate, but it is a weird time. And I know that you wanted to you had prefaced this whole thing with wanting to talk to me about like what the fuck do we do now as far
What
as
the
like
fuck?
artists, as far as like
Yeah.
filmmakers, as far as like writers. And it's a really weird time because we are kind of relying on like things like this platform that we're on right at this very moment.
Hmm.
I literally did a film festival PI, which came out back in 2014. There's a lady and her partner who run the Falls Film Festival. Excuse me, Bedford Falls Film Festival, and they were only in their second year here this year, and they were going to hold it in New York City, and
Oh,
unfortunately, with
sure.
everything that was happening, you can't do it. And they're a strictly black and white film festival, so my film fit. And even though it came
Yeah.
out 6 years ago or 5.5 years ago,
You can't be
she
super picky when you have a black and white film
she
festival.
she had totally asked me like, can we play it? And I said, sure, that's great. So I kind of attended virtually. Like we all sat on Zoom and they streamed all the movies over Zoom with people chiming in and being able to hold Q&As directly after each film played with the actual filmmakers. And so it worked, but it's like,
Did they like share the screen on Zoom and you all sort of sat there on the side and
yes,
like muted
yeah,
yourselves?
yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
just
kind of cool.
watch the movies. So, I mean, that worked, but like, yeah, it's really strange right now because there's so many larger festivals that don't have the capability to maybe just do something. I mean, the technology is still kind of sketchy in a sense where you're not getting, you know, full quality,
Mhm.
high def stuff because you're obviously working with large bandwidth, especially when more people are on.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, the stream itself is going to be what people want it to be. But yeah, it's weird. I'm part of a group right now of we have our own film festival directors group on Facebook, and there's people in there from large festivals, there's people in there from smaller festivals like mine and like Cindy's, and we're all kind of going through this strange time at the same time, and the questions are all the same. Like, how do we do this? Are there platforms? You know, people are literally right now just trying to develop platforms just to enable events to happen in real time online without people having to be together. And it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. So if you had to give me a percentage right now, Oil Valley, I keep wanting to call it the Oil City Film Festival
Yes.
for all the reasons. But the Oil
Oh,
Valley, what do you think percentage odds that it happens live on schedule?
I'd say right now it's a 50-50 shot.
50-50? All right.
Because it's Pennsylvania, and right now Pennsylvania is all about opening back up again. And
Yeah. They're trying to do that here too.
yeah. And I still think, honestly, it's too early for anywhere in the United States to do that. And so I think that is probably a negative thing as far as me getting the film festival open on time.
Especially that part of Pennsylvania.
Especially that rural Pennsylvania between Pittsburgh and Erie, and there's just people.
They don't seem super convinced of.
No, there's only like 7 cases in all of Venango County right now.
Oh, I mean, that's not bad. That's
right. It's great.
That's fewer than here.
Right. It's great and everything. But you know, my concern is once people start moving around again, that because they don't seem to think that it's real or that it's a real thing. And it does start appearing, it's going to pretty much overtake the entire population.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm scared about because I mean, it's such an isolated area and like everybody sees everybody all the time. And it's like, so for me, it's like, I want to keep the film festival there. And, you know, the plan, even with me moving down here, is to go home every year, have the film festival. The idea of the film festival was to bring movies from all over the world to that area so people could enjoy them and see things that they wouldn't normally see, you know, in their, you know, multiplex every weekend. And, you know, bring some culture from around the world to rural Pennsylvania. And that, you know, I want to continue to do that. But this year is very scary just for the fact that like this is all happening right now.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Fingers crossed, man. Just fingers crossed that I'm able to do it. And
I direct some road races now here because that's just something that ended up happening to me.
Right.
And because that's something I would end up doing. And so I have a half marathon that is the 26th of September, and we're doing it. We're running the thing.
Right.
It's really small, and it's a lot easier to do something like that
than to pack a bunch of people like into a small room.
Into a room. So the current plan now is if things are, unless it's like the government comes in and says no, you can't do it.
Right.
The plan now is we have you can register and you can run the race anytime in the week up before race day.
That's
whenever you want. So you do midnight, 2 a.m., whatever. The hook for the race is that it's the hardest half marathon in the Eastern United States.
Nice.
Sure. So we're not letting people do it virtually because then they can just do it at, you know, something.
They could just send a time in or something.
Yeah. Right. Which is what a lot of races are doing. And then we'll stagger the start if we have to.
Which makes a lot of sense. And I think, you know, as long as you're doing it in a safe capacity, and you're using CDC protocol, I don't see a problem with actually going out. Like today, I wanted to go out and like throw a baseball around, and like I have nobody to throw a baseball around with right now. So it's like
when you're a kid, you're throwing it against the wall.
right. I mean, so I get it. But on the other hand, that's the problem with the art scene and like live music venues and film festivals right now, is because you literally all have to be pretty much on top of each other. And I don't want to be responsible. So even if I was to get, the go ahead, it's ultimately up to me to look at the numbers and look at percentages and look at, the dangers of it. And it's ultimately up to me to say, do I want to be responsible for all of these people getting sick and possibly dying?
Sure.
Is it worth me having the event live this year if that's still a high percentage thing to happen? No, definitely not. So I'm gonna have to like play it by ear for now, and as of right now, it's a 50-50 shot, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, our store, they're like the state's going, well, we think this is the date for retail, and we're like, we don't give a shit what your date is for retail. We're gonna at that date we'll look at it and we'll make our own decision.
Right.
And it will probably be at least 2 weeks after that date where we'll go, okay, now, but we're in a nice situation where we do most of our sales online. So if nobody comes into the store, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
And,
It's not
it's
the end all be all of it. The business isn't going to fail just because you can't go into the store. Right.
But we are losing the summer tourists, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's a big part of stuff up there too.
Yeah. All right. So we've known each other forever.
Long
So
time.
you worked on Blanc de Blanc.
I stopped in for a day to be on set and wrangle cats and
see the chaos.
Pick out reflections of cameras and televisions and all kinds of fun stuff. So
But so I've known you for a while, and so I've always noticed that you are doing like a million things, which is why I want to talk to you. So I feel like you have a pretty good broad scope of what's going on and what sort of things, because you kind of try a lot of different stuff.
I think you have to. I don't know. That's just me. I mean, you don't have to, but I guess I have to. So yeah.
I mean, some people, they find something that works and they do that. You don't do that. You try every fucking thing under the sun.
I think that's a good thing, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know.
So, but where do you, like, what do you think's gonna sort of, in the next 3 months, what are the technologies, what are the sort of like platforms that you think are gonna sort of come to the forefront that we wouldn't automatically?
Well, I think there's even been a distinct shift from, if you look back and look at even with like say something that's maybe people understand right now as like Vimeo on demand, or what did you use back in the day? What was your preferred platform to stream?
I used Vimeo, but Vimeo's not really like, they've sort of changed their whole business model.
Right. And I think that's kind of the way it's going. Now when we released my movie back in 2014, I used a company which Vimeo actually bought and integrated into them, which was called VHX. And there was a lot of possibility to upload like a single film. So say if you're like a filmmaker and you have like one single movie and you don't have like a whole series of films or a whole library of episodes or stuff like that, you could just upload one thing. You could charge, a rental fee and or a download fee or whatever, and you could do that. But now the thing that's kind of taken a back seat, and there aren't many places like that anymore, and it's all OTT stuff, which is like build your own Netflix pretty much. Like, so you're seeing that happen a lot, and Vimeo's changed its platform to more, along the lines of that. So you don't really have the option to upload like a single flick anymore and charge people to download it or rent it. And so that's a problem, I think. I think that the possibility that we could maybe bring that back for, smaller indie filmmakers, I think would be a really good idea. to have the capability that maybe we could, you know, those companies that are now more OTT based could maybe bring back like a single upload kind of thing for, you know, for filmmakers. I think that would be a smart thing to do. Yeah, I don't know. Music wise, you know, you have your SoundClouds and you have your other stuff, but then again, you know, you really, I think you're really limited to any kind of making any kind of money off of that stuff. I mean, you have like what, like CD Baby and like all those places that
CD Baby's still around?
I think so.
Huh.
But like, you know, I don't know how to make money off of music online. Right. Like,
I don't even know how to play music.
I would not even, you know the first thing about doing that. But so I don't know. Man.
It seems to me that like the trend now is more subscription based.
It really is.
You know, like I think Patreon,
yeah.
I'm really high on Patreon. I think the next 6 months to a year, Patreon's going to get pretty big. Because I think if you just say to someone like those micro things of $2 a month or whatever,
right.
like you forget about them.
Yeah,
so
I mean you do, but
until your credit card expires, and then.
But things like Patreon, I question, because like some artists can't really work maybe under the pressure of putting something new out every week.
Right.
And so like, do you really want to sign up for this thing to where you're forced to put out a new video every week just so you know you can keep around 6 people who are giving you $2 every month?
Yeah.
So it's weird, man. It's weird. And
it
I guess
work
maybe
super great if you're someone who makes a film a year.
Right. You know, but that's the thing about the audience engagement and staying with your babies, I guess, in a sense. Like my movie, you know, I still push it. I still have it available online, and you know, I'll still tweet about it and be like, hey, if you want to rent this or download it. And you know, obviously it came out how many years ago? Does
that still work? Is there like how long is the tail on that, do you find?
It's relatively gone at this point. You know, I could even say like it's, you know, maybe I'll get some traffic hits on it, but nobody's downloading it, nobody's renting it anymore.
No,
so
I put
you know,
Plunk on YouTube and it got like 40 something views.
Right.
I was like, yeah, whatever.
Which is still cool and everything, and it's out there to the world now, and it lives for free. Which you know, I should, you know, I mean, I still have Potential Inertia submitted to a couple of things on Film Freeway that I'm waiting to hear from. Once I figure out what's going on with those, I'm going to end up putting it online so people can just have it. The world can have it, and I can put it behind me and not have to worry about it anymore.
What is the because I haven't submitted anything to a film festival in a long time.
Okay.
What is that like for a filmmaker now?
It's a lot easier.
That's nice.
I know that for the longest time, for any way to do it was either physical copy or was used like Without a Box online. Now, Without a Box had not updated their software or changed their website in probably 12 years before Film Freeway came around and completely kind of revolutionized the submission process and streamlined it and made it so much easier. And so everybody's kind of moved away from the Without a Box aspect of things and are using Film Freeway. And you're seeing smaller companies and organizations for submitting to film festivals starting to pop up. There are some from different continents that make it easier for filmmakers around the world to submit to film festivals that maybe don't have access to Film Freeway because of limitations of on the internet in specific countries and things like that. I've been able to get submissions from filmmakers in Iran even and watch them.
Wow.
Watch their submitted films, which is pretty amazing because, you know, you make a movie in Iran, you're getting arrested. So to even just be able to watch these films is pretty damn cool.
How are they even making a film in Iran?
Right. You have a camera and you're running around and you're hiding, or you're, you know, shooting indoors, or you're, you know, so it's a whole different process. Hey, can you pause this for a second?
Sure. So yeah, Iran. So these films are in Iran. Like are they just guerrilla? It's like micro budget
Yeah.
guerrilla stuff.
You know, anything coming out of a country that has such sanctions on art and making art, anything that has any kind of high production value is state sponsored anyway. And
Right.
so it's pretty much propaganda. Um, and you'll get that from a few countries around the world. Uh, which is interesting because you'll see the great thing about Film Freeway is I get an email every Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and filmmakers are able to go in and spend money to get their stuff into emails to go around. And so I get a list of these featured projects every week. And so I can go in and literally check these projects out and kind of curate even just from a basic email that I get. So I can look and say, do I think people, in the area would like that?
Mm-hmm.
If they do, I can go on. I can offer a submission discount with a click of a button, and it's Film Freeway is an amazing tool to have. Not only from the standpoint of the filmmaker, but from a film festival standpoint.
So do the filmmakers like know about you and they're like, I'm interested in this film festival, and then you just go, nah, it's not going to work? Or are you just seeing like a list of things that like their algorithm has said, this is similar to other things you programmed?
I don't really think it's set up that way, because ultimately I do get submissions like every week, that I've not, obviously I have to market the film festival myself because, through social media, I post every day on Twitter, and at least twice a week on like LinkedIn, with a link to the site or our page on Film Freeway for filmmakers to submit to. So I'm ultimately reaching out that way, and filmmakers will see that, they'll check it out, they're like, oh, it sounds like a pretty cool little festival, I'll submit. So I do get that every week. There's films coming in. Right now we're almost at our single season submission record, this is year 5, and we're not even to our regular deadline yet.
That's cool.
So for me, it's growing every year at least, and I'm doing something right with it. Obviously, if maybe I was in a bigger city, which I am now, but ultimately if the festival itself was in a bigger city, it might, have more of a draw, but at least I know that it's progressively, I'm getting more interest and it's growing as far as submissions go. And so that's a nice thing, but it's just a weird thing. And again, it comes back to whether or not we're going to actually be able to do it live this year.
Yeah. So if you can't do it, do you have to like refund a bunch of submission fees?
Well, this is a big question that a lot of festivals are asking right now and are dealing with right now, because there are filmmakers that are asking for their submission fees back once a festival has decided that it's going to go online, because then you have to think about a lot about premiere status. You have to think about how that festival is going to actually do their festival online, whether there's a paywall for it, whether there's not a paywall for it. And so you've taken like this whole festival industry and you've thrown all these different aspects of it into a bag, and you've just kind of shaken it up and gone like, all right, dump it out. Let's see what the hell happens, because nobody knows what's actually happening right now. So yeah, there are filmmakers that are asking for submission fees back. Our festival is a small festival. So if I do have to go online, I'm going to have to use, because there are some companies that are, like I said, developing ways to get the festivals online. Seed and Spark is one of them. And I love them so much over there, and they're doing such a great job with it. But there is ultimately a price I have to pay to onboard every single film into a platform like that for a
Mhm.
virtual festival. So my thing is, because our festival is so small, I don't have the revenue that a regular, Sundance would have,
Sure.
and so for me, anything that I get is will end up having to go to onboarding costs to turn the festival virtual for a year.
Virtual.
And so, am I going to feel bad about telling people they can't have their money back? Sure, that'll be horrible. But I think it might be the only way for the festival to survive because if I cancel it, then I have to give everybody their money back, and then everybody's going to be like, well, they canceled last year, so we're not going to submit.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's a
Although I
really
feel like
weird.
this year people will be like, oh yeah, well everything got canceled last year.
Right, right. I don't know, man. It's just a weird place to be in with, the way that, the world is right now. So,
Do you think that the entities that figure out a way to keep going in this, even if it's in some weird way, do you think they're at a like distinct advantage for 2021?
I do. I do because I think ultimately the artists will look to these things that have survived this and found a way to actually happen for the event to actually happen through the course of a global pandemic. We'll look at those places and go like, well, they made a distinct effort
Mhm.
for our stuff to be seen. And so I think maybe they'll be like, well, they appreciate us because they went ahead and did that. And ultimately, my film festival is about, it is smaller scale. It's not about making money. I don't even charge admission.
Mhm.
So people can just come and watch the movies because that's what I wanted it to be. So that's another thing that I'll have to consider too if I do take it online, whether or not I actually want to put it behind a paywall or just, and that would have to be up to the filmmakers. Maybe I could do
Right.
that distinctly with each movie.
That's
But
what
again,
Oxford is doing.
I
Oxford Film Fest is filmmakers can decide how they want to geofence it.
right.
So
Yeah.
that helps with premiere status and stuff like that.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's
So
very, very complicated. I don't think a lot of filmmakers who haven't, I guess, just in general, who don't know the kind of the behind the scenes work that a festival, has to do in order to
mhm.
operate. I don't think they're quite understanding how complicated this really is for film festivals.
Yeah.
And because I'm reading some things from some other film festival directors. Luckily, I haven't had to deal with, but some filmmakers are being real huge assholes to
Well,
these film festivals who are just entirely have no idea how they're going to even make it to next year because of what's going on. But
I can't say
as
that
a
I'm
filmmaker,
surprised.
as a filmmaker to a filmmaker, we can be assholes
Yeah,
sometimes. That's just
yeah.
part of the thing. But
It's part of the gig.
it is, yeah, it totally is. But yeah, I don't know.
You,
It's just a weird situation. I'll let you ask some more
all
questions
right.
here. I'm sorry.
You know
I
what
get
I?
off on tangents.
That's fine. That's good. It pads the runtime. So one thing I saw, and this is something you might want to look into,
Hmm.
is restaurants have started turning their parking lots into drive-in movie theaters
Yeah,
because
they have.
then you've got all the social distancing. You're just in your car. It works well for the restaurant because then the restaurant can serve food to people who are going to be there for 2 hours. So that might be a thing that you could use to at least salvage some of the film festival. So
In more of a live venue.
in
So
more of a live venue.
I would ultimately have to, look at what's going on back home, see what restaurants are open, see about, getting the equipment, in order to be able to do
Are
that.
there drive-in theaters still around up there?
I think maybe the closest one would be like, I don't know if there's one in Brookville and that's,
That's a hike.
yeah, I don't think there's anything close to Oil City that would be able
Hmm.
to be used. Maybe
Yeah.
Erie. I know there's one on the way to Erie, but that's like clear up in
So what you'd have to
Erie
find
County,
is you'd have to find like a side of a wall or something with a
side of a
parking lot.
building. Yeah.
Yeah, and that you could like paint white.
Set up some big speakers and
Yeah, or
go to
some
town.
way to get the speakers inside the car,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe via a phone. Maybe like one of those little things that turns it's like a mini radio station, you know,
Yeah.
where people can just tune into a
Some
channel that's
AM channel.
some
Yeah.
AM channel.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there's ways to do it. It's just gonna have to get creative. And I think, like you said, the people who get creative are gonna be the people who, in 2021 or 2022, whenever this is over,
Yeah.
are
Because we
gonna
don't
go.
know.
People go, well,
They really put the effort in
they put
in
the
order
effort in, and I think
to
part of it
show
is
our stuff.
if they can figure out a way to make this happen during the biggest clusterfuck of a pandemic in 100 years, then they can probably figure out the little stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
you know,
I
and
really
then
do.
they're probably kind of organized over there, or at least trying
Yeah.
is maybe. So that might be something you want to look at, but I would look at what
I
Oxford.
appreciate that. Yeah. It's definitely something to look at.
Yeah. All right. So what was my next question? So, okay, so how is the part of the pandemic where you are at home going for you? Like, are you able to get things done? Are you just like filled with existential dread all day? Like, have you piled up 4 screenplays already? Like, what's your process? Is it changing your process at all?
The majority of the work that I have to do at the film festival itself is done online through Film Freeway anyway. So I can literally work from anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. That's taken care of. My personally, my stuff, I am working on a script right now. I'm actually working on 3 of them.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, been drinking a little bit more.
I think that's common.
I think it is. It was funny because I was watching a video that Stephen Colbert posted last night, and his wife was there with him running the camera and stuff like that, and his eyes were just completely glazed over, and everything that was coming out of his mouth was like almost nonstop rambling, and I'm like,
Nice.
that dude's hammered. Like he's literally doing his job drunk right now for everybody.
Why
And
not?
it's so I could not stop laughing. It was amazing. Yeah, I did a couple interviews this past weekend with a couple of really cool filmmakers that I look up to, and those interviews will never see the light of day because I was literally shit tanked.
Oh, well, then they'll definitely see the light of day. They'll be like, oh, we have to do this one.
We have to
He's
put
fucking
this online.
gone.
I'll have to go. I have them recorded on my computer, so I'll have to go back through. I might be able to like cut them enough to where it makes
Yeah.
they make sense. But yeah, I get talking to those guys and everything goes out the window, and like, yeah, it's fun. It's just fun. It's a weird time, man. It's just
It's
a weird,
very
strange. Yeah.
Are you like consciously avoiding writing screenplays about the pandemic?
No, because one of the ones that I'm working on right now, which is a collaborative piece that I'm doing with 2 other writers, is about life in the pandemic.
Oh.
And it's 3 separate. It's like kind of like a small anthology, so it's 3 separate sections, feature length, hopefully, 3 separate sections, all about life in the pandemic, and with little things that kind of tie each section together. So it's kind of just a little anthology thing, which is fun. But yeah, no, I don't. I think we need to talk about it. I think maybe as artists and as, not just artists, but like as writers, I think it's our job to record history as we see it in the moment, regardless of how good or bad it is. So yeah, I don't know.
But counterpoint,
Yeah.
do you want to watch 500 submissions of 2 people locked in their Brooklyn apartment for a month.
Next year's film festival, like all I'm gonna get is like
all you're
short
gonna get.
films about the pandemic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I'm waiting for it. I know it's gonna happen. I know it'll happen.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I
gonna
feel
be
like
really strange.
because everyone's gonna do that. I'm just like I can't even wrap my head around how terrible that's gonna be.
I know, but I've already come to the conclusion that I'm gonna have to do it. So
Yeah. Are you just gonna have a section, or do you just say no, all of them, you're all out? Fuck all y'all.
it's just, I don't know. It depends on how good they are.
Yeah.
Who knows? Somebody could make this really great film about the pandemic, and I could be like, well, I could either just shit on this movie and not include it, even though it's really awesome, or I could just be like, okay, fine. Like
just this one.
Just this one.
The
Just this
one. The rest of you know. No
right,
more. It's
right.
like that kid's book, but no elephants.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly like that. And then you end up with an elephant at the end of it. All right. So when you get these 3 scripts, so you got these scripts, when you get out of this,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to make them yourself, or are you going to try to, like, because there's just going to be this mountain of scripts. I'm convinced there's going to be a mountain of scripts
right.
at the end of this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially with everything that's going on with the WGA right now, too. Like, holy crap. I don't know if you've seen any of that news, but go check it out online. But yeah, I think I've never been one to ask permission to do things.
Right.
And I think that's important for people to hear. You've been the same way. And I've always admired that about you. You've never asked people permission to make a movie or write something and so
piss somebody off.
Right. Yeah, we've never been people to go like wait around and maybe see if it's okay that I do this. But no, I mean, if and so right. And so, I mean, it's probably just going to be me making more stuff. I don't, I've always gone through these little spots in my life where I've thought like, okay, I'm done. I'm not making anything else. But I think we all kind of go through that. It's just part of who we are, and we just can't get away from it. I'm going to be 80 years old, directing my cat in something probably. Like I don't, like doesn't matter as long as I'm doing it. But yeah, I don't know. I've never been one in the major studio scene. I mean, we did take Circle Michigan's pilot script out to LA last year, which was fun, and did a live read of that in front of some television executives, which was cool. We are, I guess I can make this announcement on here. I'm going to put something online about it. We are doing a live Zoom reading of that episode. We'll be recording here on the 7th.
Cool.
And I'm getting both the actors that I had out in Los Angeles to do the 2 lead roles. So that'll be fun to put online for people to see and engage with, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird because like I feel like I have 50 million things I want to do, but I just don't know where to start.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now I guess is the time you just start accumulating things in terms of like pages. Or if you've got some sort of this is what I told like 4 people this is what I would do if I were working on a project. I would have a post-apocalyptic movie, right? And I would have recruited like 7 filmmakers in 7 different cities to go shoot B-roll right now.
Oh, that'd be great.
In empty cities.
Yeah.
I'd have someone like going through Times Square, completely empty in the middle of the day, something like that. And it would be, and I don't even know what the rest of the movie would be, but it would be something like that where you could pull off this guerrilla.
You could always just cut away and use that stuff, use that footage as insert, and really, I mean, there's people doing things like that regardless right now. Even just there's a show on Netflix that just started. J.K. Simmons is narrating, and it was Coronavirus Explained was the first episode of it, and it opens up with just like these drone shots of like downtown New York with nobody in it, and it's like,
It's creepy.
wow, they're doing this right now. They're all still making stuff. They're
It will, and
producing
that will
stuff.
never not be creepy. You know,
Right? Yeah, I agree.
you know, like right now, and you'll be like, okay, yeah, I know what they did. Like, it's not like Vanilla Sky where you're like, holy shit, how
Right.
did they shut down New York City?
Which they actually had to do to get that
Yeah.
shot of Tom Cruise running through Times
Right.
Square. But like, because we know that was fake. Like
Yeah.
that was actually fake. They had to shut it down, but like nothing was happening or out of the ordinary.
I think it was like Sunday morning at like 7 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
when it
But
turned
now, like, if you're seeing footage from now that's being shot right now that is being shot right now,
Mhm.
that's always going to be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it'll date things, but maybe.
Well, I don't know. Have you rewatched Contagion, by the way, through any of this?
Yeah, we did watch Contagion the other day, and I'm just sitting there going, we're doing better than them in a lot of different things. But I'm
Right.
like,
You have to go way worst case scenario, I guess, when you're doing.
yeah, but then
a
I'm like,
movie.
this virus is much worse. Like, we got really lucky with ours because this one like kills you in like 2 days,
Right.
and it's ridiculous. And ours is like, oh, you won't have any symptoms for 10 days, and it'll probably kill you. But
You may or may not die. We
no
don't
one
know.
knows.
Nobody knows.
And it's a really fun thing where every morning, cause my wife is like obsessed with this shit and
Mhm.
reading all of the things, and she like bought toilet paper in bulk in like February.
Oh, nice. Yeah, she
You
was
know,
one of those. She was one of
yeah.
those women going to the store and getting.
No,
the
she bought it
toilet
on
paper.
Amazon.
Oh no, that's good then.
Bought it on
She
Amazon.
wasn't like fighting with somebody in an
No,
aisle
no.
somewhere.
No, she bought it. No, that's totally not her style. She bought it on Amazon before the prices went up, before the price gouging, like way ahead of everybody. And then, so we just have toilet paper, but not like an obscene amount, just a case of it.
Well, hey, at
And
least
so
it's
anyway,
there. Worst
yeah.
case scenario, you have it.
So anyway, she's reading all this stuff. So it's a nice thing where every morning she's like, did you know they found out that you can have a stroke? And that's your symptom. You have no symptoms. You're a normal, healthy 35 to 50-year-old male, and you just die of a stroke.
There's 20-year-olds having
like,
strokes and dying because of it right now.
I'm like, can I have coffee first before you
Right.
tell me this?
Before you scare the shit out of me for the day. Yeah, man.
People wonder why I'm drinking.
I just don't. It's weird because I don't know if it's because we're so desensitized or whether or not we think we're just invincible or whether it's just the human condition to be skeptical or whether it's the fact that maybe humans are way less intelligent than we really hope or want them to be. But it's very, very scary that it's not being taken as seriously as I think it should be. So I don't know.
Definitely not. Hi, buddy. You want to be on the video?
Maybe it's just a combination of those. What are you doing, dude?
He got in a fight with a rose bush the other day.
Oh,
and he lost. Did you? Yeah, he lost.
Yeah. Look at that red hair. You look like me when I was a kid.
You say hi?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, let's probably wrap it up because I think I'm supposed to make dinner. That might be my cue.
Oh yeah, man. That's
all right.
cool.
So, like, tell me one thing. Tell me where do you think we're coming out of this? What's going to be the big takeaway at the end of this bullshit?
I think my big takeaway at the end of all of what is happening right now is, again, I think just as humans, we're going to maybe appreciate a little bit more the things that we take for granted. And I think as artists, I think it's really going to help art thrive in a sense, because it's hard for artists who like to express experience through their work to not experience things, to be locked up in a room. And coming out of it, I think people are going to have a lot of things to say, and you're going to see maybe kind of a spike in creativity like that we haven't seen for 100 years, which would be pretty damn awesome.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, thank you for talking to me. Where can people find you on ye old internet?
Ye old internet. You can go to Twitter. I'm at Matt Croyle on Twitter, Matt Croyle official on Instagram, and you can go ahead and just even send me an email at hello@robotblonde.net.
And you can submit to the Oil Valley Film Festival, which may or may not happen
Right.
December in
Right.
Oil City, Pennsylvania.
We'll definitely figure it out, though.
Who knows? Something will happen. All right.
Thank you, Lucas, very much.
Thank you.